And now, here's Mike Muse with the political news.
So let's get right to it and meet the candidates.
That completes the opening statement.
We're going to get right to it.
On Sway in the Morning.
Mike Muse is here.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mike Muse.
How are you guys today, man?
We went shopping last week.
Yeah, man, we had a good time.
Mike Muse likes to hang out with me when we go shopping because he gets free shirts.
You bought Mike Muse a shirt?
I felt pressure, like some little brother shit, like he was just looking at dog, little puppy dog eyes, like, oh, those are great clothes, Sway.
Yeah.
Mike Muse lives in Manhattan.
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly.
He can buy a shirt.
Lower Manhattan, at that,
Too much information.
The lower you go, the higher the rent is in Manhattan. He's way down there. Anyway, man.
Rent is too damn high everywhere, man.
Whatever, Mike.
All right, let's get to it, man. Hey, I'm gonna throw an audible here. Vice President Pence really caused a ruckus yesterday as he showed up to an NFL football game, only to have left when he saw that some of the players were kneeling during the national anthem. Now, a lot of folks are saying this was a political stunt, that he didn't even intend on staying to see the whole game.
Right.
Yep.
And it was a lot of folks feel like it was a divisive measure. On the flip side, others say he was just being loyal to his president and being loyal to the flag. What is your take on this, Mike Muse? What do we know?
I think we're stoking the flame again. As you guys know, for the previous two Sunday mornings or Saturday evenings, President Trump has tweeted out to the NFL and to the players that he expects everyone to be standing and not to disrespect the flag. Since we didn't see any tweets coming, I was actually curious to see, was President Trump going to talk about the NFL or was he going to let it go this time?
Yeah.
And what we saw was that he actually sent Vice President Pence to the stadium to just kind of make an appearance, if you will, about this flag, kind of really going back to the culture war. Trump actually tweeted, he said, I asked Vice President Pence to leave the stadium if any players kneeled, disrespecting our country. I am proud of him, and Second Lady Karen. Well, we all knew that the NFL players are going to kneel. They haven't stopped kneeling, so we knew that going forward.
And they're not going to stop because of what the president, who's just another man, expects from them.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
You can't tell a grown-ass man, I expect you to not. Come on,
you
man.
can't, especially if you know going in, and that's where the challenge comes up, is that we all knew going in that the players are going to kneel. So was this a PR stunt? To Pence's credit, he says, quote, I left the Colts game because at POTUS and I would not dignify any event that disrespects our soldiers, our flag, and our national anthem.
Mm-hmm.
But Sway, to do a little bit more digging into it, when Vice President Pence landed, keep in mind, he came from Las Vegas. So he came from Las Vegas to go to the Indianapolis game. As you know, the vice president and the president travels with a press pool. When the press pool got in their cars, headed to the stadium, Pence's staff directed the reporters not to get out of their vehicles because this would be a short stay. So they knew going in, before the anthem even played, that they were going to make their exit during the anthem. Mm-hmm. And Sway, the difficulty is what this cost the taxpayer, Sway. The Washington Post is estimating over $250,000 for a 6-hour flight that was cost. Not only that, but he used up resources with police officers being in Indianapolis. He used up resources with Secret Service, and he inconvenienced the fans of the Indiana Colts fans. What makes it worse? The geography. So you go from Las Vegas to Indianapolis. He only stayed for a few hours, then went straight to Los Angeles for 3 fundraisers and to have a conversation about taxes.
What are the fundraisers going to pay for the trip?
No.
How many people knew about this ahead of time? I mean, the vice president of the United States can't just show up at a football game. People have to be warned and told and known. They have to make space. They have to get special security. This was all planned. Stunt.
Heather said it best last week. Let's get back to playing football.
Why can't we?
Because this is distracting the Giants. We'll talk about that later. All right. Okay. Now I saw also a Twitter beef going on this weekend with Senator Bob Corker out of Tennessee.
Yes.
Criticizing President Trump a few days ago, and then President Trump came back via Twitter feed, and he claimed that Corker begged him for an endorsement, something Corker denies, and said he didn't have the guts to run again. That's what President Trump said.
Yes, Sway. So this started off yesterday morning after President Trump sent his budget director, Mick Mulvaney, on Meet the Press yesterday, essentially to respond to Bob Corker's tweets during the week. And here's what Mick Mulvaney had to say.
I enjoy working with Senator Corker. I think it's going to be fun to work with him, especially now that he's announced that he's not running for re-election, because I think it sort of unleashes him to do whatever and say whatever he wants to say. But I don't think we're that close to chaos anyway. the folks that he mentioned are excellent at their jobs, but most of the people that we hired have. Most of the stories I see, and again, I'm there, Chuck, every single day. I'm in the White House every single day, and I've never seen the chaos that gets reported outside. I've never seen the infighting, the backbiting. Certainly there are differences of opinion. You and I have talked about this before.
Right.
The president wants people who have different ideas and different perspectives than he does so that he can get a bunch of smart people in a room to help him make a decision. That's not chaos. That's just good decision making.
So, Sway, this goes into a communication strategy that people believe was happening by sending Mick Mulvaney to meet the press to talk about this, because immediately following that appearance, that's when the first tweet came out where Trump says, my endorsement, he also wanted to be Secretary of State. I said, no thanks. He is also largely responsible for the horrendous Iran deal. Then Trump went on further to say, hint, I would fully expect Corker to be a negative voice and stand in the way of our great agenda. He didn't have the guts to run. Which then made a few hours later Senator Bob Corker to respond to Trump to say, quote, it's a shame the White House has become an adult daycare center. Someone obviously missed their shift this morning. To go on, then Trump said, quote, Bob Corker gave us Iran deal, and that's about it. We need health care. We need tax cut reforms. We need people that can get the job done. So, Sway, what's happening now is Senator Corker's chief of staff responded and said that conversation did not take place. The conversation did not take place of Corker wanting the endorsement from President Trump. And he also said that President Corker never voted for the Iran deal. Senator Corker voted against the Iran deal. That's public record. All the senators know that. So, again, it goes to the Trump not being truthful and actually lying in his tweets about Senator Bob Corker, that he voted that way. What's happening now, Sway, politically, Trump has put himself into a box. He can only lose, the Republicans in the Senate can only lose 2 Republicans going forward to pass almost any type of legislation, right? We already know he has a difficult relationship with Senator John McCain. We also know he has a difficult relationship with Senator Murkowski from Alaska. So then you have Bob Corker, who he needs to help pass tax reform. Who's a Republican. This is our Republican conversation. I haven't mentioned one Democrat. I haven't mentioned one Democrat.
Where are the Democrats?
They are, Chuck and Nancy have the conversation trying to get into.
There's 2 Democrats left in Washington, it seems like.
Literally.
Of any influence. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so that is a challenge. So if he is attacking Corker the way that he is, Corker has nothing to lose because he's not running for re-election, so he doesn't have to make any deals with President Trump. If you're going to attack Corker in this way, the Republicans will be mindful they're going to lose Corker's vote on taxes, which is already, Sway. Tax reform is more difficult to pass than health care reform, and we've already seen a challenge with health care.
What I have a problem with, going back to Vice President Pence, shouldn't he be working on tax reform? Shouldn't he? I mean, what about the wall?
Exactly.
What about North Korea? What about, like all of these things? What about injustice in the judicial system? The reason why Colin Kaepernick started taking the knee in the first place.
Yes. And Trump and Sway, the tweets didn't stop over the weekend from there. So we also have North Korea now that we have to be concerned about as well. So on Thursday, President Trump had this to say about North Korea.
You guys know what this represents? Well, maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm is
We have the world's great military people in this room. I will tell you that.
Yet the president said maybe it's the calm before the storm. We talked about this last week, and it just kind of implied to a lot of folks that it's something about to happen. Because I remember when shock and awe happened.
Exactly.
And
this was standing in front of military generals and their wives for a dinner that President Trump has. That was on Thursday. Sway, on Friday, we heard from Huckabee Sanders, who is the communications press secretary for the White House. She said that she's not going to give any credence to what the president says. She's not going to give any clarification of what way the president is going. That's up to him to decide. On Saturday morning, Trump came out and said he has nothing to clarify about what will come. He said you have to figure that out pretty soon. But then he went to Twitter and he said that, quote, presidents and their administrations have been talking to North Korea for 25 years. Agreements made and massive amounts of money paid. He went on to say this hasn't worked. Agreements violated before the ink was dry, making fools of the United States negotiators. Sorry, but only one thing would work. So again, he keeps stoking the fire of only thing's going to happen is military action. And so you are now putting North Korea on alert and on notice. Our allies are worried and concerned. Our military officials are worried and concerned. How does it affect the American people, Sway? If you have loved ones who are in the military, you want to know what the direction is that the United States is going to send your son, your daughter, your husband, your wife, your niece, your nephew into the theater of war. So this is why we should be concerned when he makes off-the-cuff statements like this.
We got DJ from Maryland on the line. DJ,
What
what
up,
up, man?
DJ?
DJ.
What's going on, everybody?
What's up, man?
Hey, DJ.
What you want to say real quick, DJ?
So real quick, so you made a comment about how Pence got to the stadium, and you were saying it was going to be a quick stay, and he got up and left, and you had the response of, how does the president going to come in there and say they can't kneel, and then when Pence responds, he just rolls out. It goes the same way. So we got the NFL players kneeling, and they're trying to get a man to do a response. So it goes both ways. So at what point does that balance counteract each other, and you just call it what it is? You get back to football and let the president do what he's going to do, and just keep things rolling. Because if we keep everybody fighting, it's just never going to stop.
I agree, but when the players kneel, it doesn't cost me any money.
No, but but you've got an expectation as a fan when you go to a football game and you're a football game can cost you upwards of $500 to $1,000 a day.
But I get that, DJ. I've been a season ticket holder, but when the players kneel for the length of a 2-minute anthem, it doesn't cost us money.
Well, you got to look at it. Trump's not taking salaries, also putting a lot of his own money in. If you were to say, okay, take that $250 out of the salary that's not even being taken, there's no money lost in reality.
I personally think it's a better way to spend $250,000 than to fly to a football game.
Why are the players still even coming out for the anthem? Just stay the hell back in the locker room and just let them put the flag out and just that's the hell it. I'm just sick of this shit.
But Heather B and DJ and Sway.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I lost it.
Hey, DJ, but I definitely get your point.
But let's not confuse the point, though, Sway. Okay. What DJ is doing is apples and oranges here. DJ has a right to make a statement about the players kneeling, fine. But this is in relationship to the strategy and the PR stunt, if one is a PR stunt, about what President Trump sent Vice President Pence to do when ahead of time he knew the players were going to kneel. And at the same time, it cost taxpayers $250,000 just in order to send him back to Los Angeles geographically. So, DJ, we're not talking about whether or not the players are kneeling or not. This story is in context of how much it's costing the taxpayers for them to do and have Pence show up.
Hey, DJ, but I appreciate it, man. And keep calling us, man. I need to hear your voice, DJ. There's no right or wrong. It's just a bunch of opinions. All right? Thank you, brother. You're a citizen.
It's Sway in the morning.
All right. Evan, go ahead, man. I know you got something to say, Evan. Go ahead, Evan.
Hell yeah, I got something to say. When that national anthem's playing, man, I remember growing up as a kid, putting my hand over my heart. It made me tingly inside. It made me feel good, and it still does. That's just disrespectful. And on the other hand, how much money did Obama waste flying around? Why don't you guys talk about that, buddy?
I don't remember. He's no longer in office.
Exactly.
I'm dealing with the president that's in office.
Well, to be fair to that point,
but
to Evan, you asked that question already.
If you want to count it up, count it up.
Evan, one quick fact I can give you right now is that President Trump has already blown through his Secret Service budget that's been allocated towards him due to the fact of his frequent travel back and forth between Florida and New Jersey and D.C. So that is one quick fact that I can give you regarding to that aspect of it.
Evan, you still watching football? Because I thought you told me if the Cowboys kneel, you wasn't even watching no more.
Heather B, you got me, and I'm not watching.
All right, have a good day, Evan.
All right, Evan.
We love you.
I love
He
Evan,
even got a chuckle at a Wonder. That even made Wonder laugh.
Yeah, what's up, Mike Muse? Steve Cohen just came, man. Steve Cohen is here, Vice President, Senior VP of Sports here. I wanted to get into Harvey Weinstein, who is co-founder of Miramax Studios, who's responsible for probably a ton of movies, Pulp Fiction, Sex Lives and Videotape, The Crying Game, bunch of independent films, so on and so forth. He's actually been on our show. And Harvey Weinstein just recently made the news because a lot of women were tweeting about moments they alleged that they alleged they encountered with him that were filled with sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Harvey actually is a fan of the show.
Yikes.
And he's been here before. Harvey, you got any openings at the
when you see this movie, you're gonna say to me, I could play that part.
Okay, all right.
I promise you. Call me after you see the movie. I'll come back on the show and we'll talk about it.
My man. All right, cool. Harvey Weinstein, you hear that? He wants me to call him, y'all. Should I call him?
Hell no. What did Bill Cosby tell somebody? You don't want this mud on you?
You don't want that funk on you.
Stay away, Sway.
And so now it's been politicized in a sense because there are a lot of Republicans who are calling on Democrats who received contributions for Harvey Weinstein to give the money back.
Yeah. So Harvey Weinstein is one of the biggest political fundraisers and donors within the Democratic Party. I've actually been to Harvey's home for a fundraiser with President Obama. It was probably about maybe 30, 40 of us.
How'd it go?
The dinner was great.
Okay.
We had a good time, but I definitely don't support Harvey Weinstein's actions and what he's done to these women and his harassment. I do not stand by him. I think it's appalling to what his track record has been. I think it's appalling the statement that he made and that he actually justified it by saying this is what you were doing in the 60s and 70s. But as a result of that, there has been a demand for the Democrats to give back the money. So we've seen some senators and some politicians now going to give back the donations to women's charities regarding that. There's been some pushback that the DNC has opted to give the money, parts of the money back towards nonprofit organizations that help to empower female candidates. But the RNC has said that they should go further with that. But then on the flip side, one would say as the RNC is challenging the Democrats to give their money back due to Harvey Weinstein's reaction and treatment and statements against women, the comeback is where are the Republicans and where is the RNC, and if they're going to give their money back as it relates to the comments that President Trump has made regarding women. So as the RNC makes statements about that, you open yourself up to the possibilities of now if individuals are going to give their money back who supported Trump, because Trump has also made these type of derogatory comments. And I'm specifically referencing the Access Hollywood when you talk about he grabs women by their pee. Right? And
what's
so,
a pee?
Punani.
By their pipes?
Nope.
Punani.
By their ponytails?
Keep going.
Oh, okay.
Pussy.
Thank you. Okay.
that word. Okay.
So let's make that the question: Should the Democrats give back the money that Harvey Weinstein donated to their campaigns?
Exactly. And should Republicans give their money back to the money that Trump has mentioned too when it comes to women harassment?
All right, hit up Mike Muse directly. I don't even want to deal with that. Y'all hit up Mike Muse directly.
At I am Mike Muse, MUSAME on Twitter and on Instagram.
Steve Cohen, man, can we talk football, man?
Please.
Can we talk some football?
Let's just get out of this.
Okay, man. All right, we got sports up next.
Turn lights all the way down. What?